I know who you are, I know where you stay, I know what you drive, and I know when you park. Who am I? In theory, I'm here to protect you. In reality, it might be very different. Nikki, so in this industry, if there's one thing we know, you buy a new car, doesn't matter where you buy it from, buy a used car, what is the one thing that any insurance company is going to insist on?
A tracking device.
And the tracking device is why? To protect you?
Yeah, and your car, most essentially.
And I said, in theory, the absolute reality, and it was an incredible reach out from a follower of the podcast that asked, can he come onto the show and share with us his knowledge of what goes on, so to speak, behind the scenes and the lowdown. Today in studio, you're only going to see two people for obvious reasons, myself and Nikki. But you're going to hear a third voice. It is a voice that is an expert, is currently still employed in this industry. And let me be clear from the outset that we are not talking about any company in particular. It's not targeting a company. It's an industry and a challenge that we're all facing. You watch YouTube, Nikki?
100%.
How often do you see on YouTube that video of a gentleman, a lady, pulling into a parking lot, parking right under a camera, getting out the car, going into the local store, Wimpy, whatever the case may be, 35 seconds later, a white car, it always seems like it's a white car, pulls up behind, gentlemen, get out, casually walk up to the car. Do they break anything?
No, they know exactly what they're doing. They know what they do. Then the car opens.
Magically?
They get in the car, they leave.
35, 40 seconds later, and you hear the people saying, but how? Wow, did they have jammers, whatever? I think it's something a lot more sinister. And today, we're going to call him Mr. X. What do you say? How does that name sound?
Yeah, Mr. X.
Mr. X. So the next voice you're going to hear is Mr. X. And I would like to say, number one, we appreciate you reaching out to us. Absolutely. You've done what you've done. You've shared with me in private for one simple reason. You care about your country, you care about its people, and you care about an industry that is employing you. Sadly, this industry is doing something wrong. Share with us 300 or 400 of the nasties that go on. But for the purpose of this discussion, we're going to call you Mr. X. Have you ever been called Mr. X before?
No.
So if I say to you, fundamentally, a tracking device, and it's not a simple yes or no answer, but a tracking device. The reason, in theory, that an insurance company is wanting a tracking device fitted is to protect their asset. Yes. So you as a consumer, the first thing you think about, wow, I'm insuring it with company X, and they've asked me to go with company Y from a tracking point of view. I've got that protection, and now I've got more than protection. I can do tracking, I can look on the computer where the car is. In reality, am I placing myself at risk by installing a tracker, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I would say I have two answers to it. I'd say yes and no, because the whole purpose of having a tracking device into your car is for monitoring purposes and recovery. But unfortunately, there is a darker secret into it.
And that is what we'd value you sharing with us.
Yes.
It's a tracking device that doesn't get installed by a computer. It's a tracking device that gets installed by a human being. And that human being potentially can be compromised. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, Nikki, yourself, we deal with this all the time. We talk about the Toyota Hiluxes, we talk about Ford Rangers, Polos, cars that are essentially targeted. So remember, it doesn't matter what tracking device you've got in the car, it's if they want that car. So one of the things that intrigued me was, you mentioned in private, a tracking device gets fitted and certain underhanded things happen. A duplicate key, for example, gets made. Am I correct? Kindly share that with us.
Okay. So I'll just make an example. So if it happens that there's a Toyota Hilux that I need to fit, I'll be obviously given the vehicle to fit, and it goes with a job card. So in most cases, the job card does have the details of the owner. So if maybe you'd look at the job card and you can see that, okay, maybe this person is a local, maybe stays around Joburg or around Gauteng. That person is going to be a target. So if maybe I have the machine to duplicate the key, I can do that. And that's the method that was used long time ago. So we used to use a machine.
But now, Mr. X, you say if I had a machine. So we're talking about this machine, whether it was used a long time ago or still being used, that was in your possession or the installer's possession when they went to install the tracking device in that car. Am I correct?
Yes, so basically in my vehicle, in my work vehicle, there is that machine hidden somewhere with the tools and everything that I need to use so I can duplicate the key. Obviously, there must be a ghost key that I have.
So you go prepared. I know I'm going to fit a tracker in a Ford Ranger. I'm going to fit a tracker in a VW Polo. A VW Polo's got a specific key encoded. You go with a spare key ready to become a duplicate key. Is that fair to say?
Yes, most especially a keyless car, it's the one that is much more vulnerable in those situations.
So basically, vehicles that have keyless entry and keyless start are the ones that are more vulnerable than...
Yes.
Because now, if I have to use that old key, I'd have to go back to a locksmith to go and cut that...
The shape.
The shape, you understand? Yeah, so the one that's much more quicker, it's the keyless one.
Right.
Yes.
And the coding, because obviously you do the key, then you have to
Yes.
code the key that you duplicated to the car.
Yes.
Is that done on the spot as well?
Or
Yes,
you
on
have
the
to go-
spot. So basically, if I can just give you a time frame, I get time to fit a car for maybe 1.5 hours.
Okay.
In 30 minutes, that's the time that I take to install the actual unit for the vehicle.
So sorry to interrupt you. So you're given 90 minutes to do a job that should take 30 minutes. So you've got triple the time that is needed to do what shouldn't be done and what
Yes.
is being done.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes. So on that first 30 minutes, I'll obviously install the actual tracking device, and then I still have ample time to do whatever shenanigans that needs
So
to
work
happen.
before pleasure, is that the motto?
Basically.
I like that. That's nice.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so a question that I get asked a lot about when you're fitting a tracking device, right, is obviously like you, the installer, only you see where you're fitting it. Is there a reason why only you should be able to? Because obviously I know. I just want you to tell the audience why only you should know where to fit it. And also, when you've done fitting it, are those the installers? Don't they go and tell the people that would come and take the vehicles where to find the specific tracking device? And if a certain vehicle has, like you said, you mentioned like a job card as well. Just touch on that. Job card, like you said, can give you the information of, let's say myself, you see this guy, if you're fitting at the house, stays here, he's a local. Do then the installers take that information, take it to their friends that will be obviously doing the hijacking or stealing of the vehicle? How much easier does you having the information of a client make it for the people taking the vehicle?
Okay, so just to touch on your first question, the reason why the client is not allowed is for insurance purposes, because now there's people who claim insurance by knowing that the device is placed at a certain grade on the vehicle, and they also might have friends who are criminals, you understand? They can plan on whatever and take the car and claim on insurance. And then to follow up on your second question, in most cases, people who take information, like your information from the job card, if I have a plan on it, maybe I know that you need to be hijacked and stuff, those people are mostly people that have special orders for that vehicle. So let's give an example. You're probably driving a Legend 50 4x4,
Yeah.
black in color, and during the week, maybe at a bar or something, I heard someone talking about it and they need that car. Do you understand? So mostly it can be something that can be used against you based on what order that person has on that particular day. Yeah.
So there are a couple of challenges for me in the real world. I get a courier come to deliver an item to my house, to my business. They want a copy of my ID. I'm giving them a copy of my ID that they can use for identity theft. So Mr. X raised something very, very relevant. And think about this. I've always wondered why I, as the owner, cannot watch the installation. Because I, as the owner, am a genuine guy. I, as the owner, am an honest guy. I don't have nefarious activities in mind. But he just pointed out something that makes so much sense. You swap this one problem, i.e. all the installers become absolutely legitimate, then the public sees an opportunity. So there's no question, an absolutely no-win situation. You've got potentially the public that can be scallums. You've got the installers that can be scallums. How simply do you eliminate this? For me, the easiest way to eliminate it is not to have a tracking device in my car. Am I mad?
You're actually right, but at the same time, it's going to eliminate the other functions that you can get for a tracking device. Other people, they use it to track their partners.
You understand? Yeah.
Okay.
So it has two functions actually.
It's
Mr.
for-
X, I'm living in a very strange world. I'm learning so much today. Tracking your partner, tracking the thieves, tracking the public. Wow. There's so many things that I haven't lived.
Yeah.
I have just a question with regards to like yourself as an installer. When you go to install the tracking device on whatever car, today you go to car number 1. Do you always install in the exact same position all the cars that you do, or you go to car number 1, install it here, car number 2, install it there?
Okay, so all cars have different grid locations. We call it grid location.
Okay.
So I can make an example with a Hyundai i20. A Hyundai i20, in most cases, it's going to be fitted. It's either inside or outside. But
We're talking about on the car now.
yes,
Right.
so when I say inside, it can be somewhere around the dash, but it depends on what unit you're fitting. If you're fitting a GPS unit, actually in most cases it must be having sky view, so it mustn't have any metal on top of it. Do you understand? But an SVR unit, which is for recovery, you can fit it anywhere around the car, but obviously you must run along those wires that you know that you're going to have access to power and everything. Do you understand? So not every car has the same grid location, but if I can put maybe 50 Corolla Crosses for an example, 80% of them I'd get them in one location,
Right.
depending on which company fits, because every company has its own style.
Okay.
Do you understand? So there's like a specific company that is only they just pressurize us technicians that you must just fit outside.
But Mr. X, if I can elaborate on that point, because that was what I was going to ask. So if you take 3 vehicles that are absolutely high theft risk, Toyota Fortuner, Toyota Hilux, and a VW Polo, you've got to assume the syndicates have said, in a Polo, I'm just using an example, in the right-hand corner of the dash at the bottom, in a Toyota Hilux, in the left-hand corner underneath the cubby hole. Then I ask you the question, often you'll see videos of a car that's been recovered, and this car is trashed. It's like whoever stole this car did not have a clue where the tracking device was. Because what we just said a few seconds ago, if it was under the right-hand corner, we don't have to trash that Polo. But you see that Polo is completely trashed. Is it also a case of many thefts have got nothing to do with what we're talking about? Why are those vehicles being trashed when they're looking for a tracking device? Did the installer forget where to put it?
No. So I can say if a car is much more high risk, it has a lot of grid locations, because tracking companies, they always call back those cars and find new grid locations. For an example,
Allow me to interrupt there
Yes.
positively. You say they call them back with
Yes.
the right intentions. They saying
Yes.
we want to create a better
Yes.
buffer, a better barrier.
Yes.
yes. So when they call them back, they're going to find a new location. So if I can give you an example, a Toyota Fortuner plus minus it has 6 locations.
Zero. That's a lot.
Do you understand?
And again, so you've got different thieves working with different tracking companies. Different tracking companies are putting it in roughly 6
locations.
different locations.
6 different locations, and also it's going to depend on which company is it. So just to open up onto something that we're not really aware of. So a criminal can have 5 people in his phone that he can call, working for 5 different companies, just for one car. Do you understand? So I'm just going to call Mr. A, B, for company A, B, or whatever,
Right.
and just call him just to find out, this car, is it under you? Is it not? Or whatever it is. If it's under that company, then you have to give him the location. So you have to give him all 6 locations, if not 3 or 5. And at the same time, it can be a matter of him looking for 3 or 5 units in that car with different locations still. So as I'm saying, 6 locations in one vehicle, it's for one unit.
Right.
While there's 5 maybe other units in that car.
So what happens if a vehicle has more than one tracking device?
Okay, so that's very interesting because I've noticed lately a lot of people are saying there's 2 or 3 tracking devices in the vehicle. So what happens if there's more than 3 tracking devices? And we're talking about it can be the same tracking company or it could be different tracking companies. Am I correct?
Yes. So, let's say there's one company in one vehicle. In that case, if I get a call and I get to find out that it's under my company, now it's going to be easy for that person to find those devices. But it's not going to be that easy because of there's different, maybe thousands of technicians, and we're not really sure who worked on that vehicle. But still, as a technician, you can still unfold it in a manner that you can still find out who fitted that vehicle.
Right.
Do you understand? And you can just honestly call that person and just ask them, hey, there's a vehicle that I'm working on. I can tell that it was fitted by you because it has a job card. The previous job card says it's you. Where did you fit those units? Do you understand?
Right.
So it becomes easy. So if I call back those guys, it gives them less time to strip. It gives them less drama to rip off the car and stuff and all of that. So it becomes much more easier for them.
Okay, so for you, let's just say I need to fit a tracking device, right?
Sure.
And I'm very conscious about the vehicle I drive. Let's say I drive a Volkswagen Polo, and I know, worst case scenario, it will get taken or whatever. Would you advise I fit one tracking device or 2 tracking devices? And if I do fit 2 tracking devices, when they do take it, let's just say they do take it, do the criminals, when they find the first tracking device, stop and then carry on doing why they wanted the car? Or they find the first one and go look for the second one, and when they get the second one, look for the third one? Just touch on that.
That's a very, very good question.
Okay, so I have my own theory when it comes to vehicle security. As a vehicle owner, I think you must be aware of the first barrier that you must tackle before buying a car. It's entry. So it mustn't be easy for them to just enter your car or break into your car. It mustn't be easy for them. But if you put maybe an anti-hijack onto your vehicle, now it eliminates all that drama for them to go and even look for what? For the tracking devices on your vehicle. So basically your car won't be stolen. Do you understand? So as the public, I think we are much more brainwashed in a way to believe that a tracking device can protect you from anything, but it can only help you to locate the vehicle, but it won't help you for your car not to get stolen. Do you understand? So if I were to advise a person who wouldn't even want to hear about a anti-hijack or something, I'd advise that person to get maybe 3 or 2 companies in one vehicle.
So not using the same company.
Yes,
You rather
because-
use company A, B, and C.
So
Yes.
3 different companies, 3 different devices, as opposed to one company, 2 or 3 devices from that same company. Mr. X, I'm going to ask you a couple of hard-hitting questions, and Just all we always want is, it is what it is. It's the hard truth.
Yeah.
There are many tracking companies in South Africa. We're never going to mention names. Is this endemic to the industry, or are there certain companies that are more actively involved in this activity, would you say? Or is it endemic to the industry?
I wouldn't say the company in particular is the one who's involved, but it always goes about who you employ. So other companies, they take you through a polygraphy test before you get employed. If you fail that polygraphy test, you're not going to get employed.
Right.
But most people do get employed without any bad intentions. But when they start working, they start getting approached by people. Do you understand? So I'll just give you an example. There's many technicians that are well aware of the system of how they work in those tracking companies. So if I'm working for tracking company A for maybe for 3 years running, and then I get another company that's going to employ me, already I do have the knowledge and the system, how it works from the previous company. So it's easy for me to manipulate their system now. Even still, I'm not even working for them. Do you understand? Yeah. So there's many instances where you can just manipulate.
But I think something that Mr. X has just said that is very interesting. Now, a polygraph test is not something that stands up in a court of law, but it's fundamentally accepted that you're not going to beat a polygraph test with the right examiner. Why is it not absolutely mandatory across the industry? Possibly after this interview, I think it will be, that a polygraph test is a non-negotiable. If you're in the security industry, you need to have a security clearance. We also do know that that is flouted. But I'm going to suggest the following. An insurance company wants me to get a tracking device fitted. That's cool. You tell me which company, or you tell me which options. I want to know the installer is Mr. ABC. I want to see upfront, on the day that my vehicle is having a tracking device fitted, his polygraph test. I want to know his name. I'm entitled to know it. Why can't I? Why can't I? And should the S ever hit the fan, that there's certain recourse. You are here to protect me. Show me that. You meet a police officer in the middle of the night. Naturally, you're apprehensive. If that police officer said, "Good day, this is my card. You're welcome to hold it. My name is Officer so-and-so. Please take your time to look at it." Will you trust that officer? A lot more than if their badge is not displayed. So everything is about a solution. We have a challenge. You've got the public that can be guilty. You've got scallums. You've got motor dealerships, I'm sure, that are involved. You've got lots of people. The way to eliminate that is the buck has got to stop somewhere. The buck has got to stop with the tracking company and the employee who's appointed it. If I hand over a child to the Department of Social Welfare because I found that that child is being abused, I would very much like to know who the caretaker is. It is sister, it is Mr. So-and-so. I want to know that that child is in good care. Do you agree with that or not?
Yes, I do agree.
Just one question.
Nikki, stop. We're going to go buy a polygraph company. There's lots of business that we can do. We're out of here.
Yeah. I think we just go to the tracking devices company. We just say, no, look, we have a device here.
Yeah.
Test all your installers. Just one question from my side as we come to the end of this episode. There's, like you said, these industry secrets that you're telling us. Obviously, the tracking devices companies, they know about these things, right? Is there anything that the companies are doing to, obviously you can't prevent such things, but is there anything they're doing to decrease or the chances of it happening, although it'll keep happening, but is there anything that they're doing to make things better, to make more, for their company to be trusted by the public?
Need advice? Visit changecars.co.za and click on the Keep It or Change Cars tab.
Okay, so there's a certain company that I know of.
Yeah.
They run polygraphy tests almost every after 2 months.
Ooh.
So they call every technician to come and run a polygraphy test. And other companies, they don't really run them, not unless they're suspecting something out of you.
Okay.
So Other companies, they just don't do that. So in most cases, another thing that's killing the industry is that they mostly call in those fitment centers. Fitment centers, they are more or less like you can go to what you call
A part center, tire
yeah,
center.
yeah, something
right?
like that.
Yeah.
And then you get wherever where they fit sound and whatever. In most cases, you'd get like a sign that says, Company A approves whatever to
Wow.
come and install. Do you understand? So they can just pick up a random person who has experience from the industry and just to come and fit there. Do you understand? So that's one of the things that's killing. And another thing, it's dealerships. Dealerships aren't really honest when it comes to the public. But now it's not really the dealership in a way.
Can
There's
you
a- there's a-
elaborate for us on that?
Okay, there's a certain individual in every dealership who has like whatever shenanigans going on. Do you understand? It can be a salesperson, it can be a driver, it
Right.
can be a stock controller. So whoever who has access to the car or cars does have whatever that they can think of. I'm not saying everyone, but I'm just saying there's always that one individual. So those individuals, in most cases, they work with us, the tracking guys. So they tell us that, okay, maybe we have a Fortuner, or we have a Corolla Cross, or a RAV4. Come up with a plan. How can you sell this vehicle? So it starts little from the little things that are left there in the dealership. Maybe there's extra rims, a bumper. So it starts from there. Do you understand? And then it escalates to a vehicle, big vehicle like your Fortune or something. So it asks you like, okay, we have this car. How can you sell it? You get me? So obviously, if maybe I'm working on that in that dealership, I mean, they'd ask me to fit that vehicle. So every dealership, they always install dealer stock devices on their vehicles, and it's just for their security purposes. Do you understand? But if as a technician, I know where the tracking device is, and the stock controller knows that I know where the tracking device is, we'd obviously come up with a plan to sell that vehicle, and would obviously maybe involve a driver. So they'll send a driver maybe to go and put a notch bar on a Fortuner. So as soon as he drives out, if the key is already duplicated or whatever, he'll just drive out and maybe go to that place where he's going to fit whatever, park outside. While he's parking outside, he's obviously going to go in and ask for information. I'm just looking for Mr. Whoever. They said I must bring the car here. Do you understand? Or takes it to Roadworthy or something like that. Do you understand? As soon as he goes in there, maybe we're already waiting for him outside.
You
That's
get me?
scary. So I've got a couple of challenges, and I said it very openly.
Yeah,
I fit a tracking device to my car.
yeah,
You know who I am. You know me by name.
yeah,
You know where I stay because I'm ignorant enough to fill in my home details and my bank account details. You know what vehicle I drive because obviously there's a tracking device linked to my car.
yeah,
And now, at any given time, that tracking device is live. You know my car is parked at 44 3rd Avenue, Sandton. You know my car's driving along Winnie Mandela Drive in Sandton. You know my car is parked at a shopping centre in Sandton. I am absolutely exposed. The people who are following the monitoring component, the people in the control room, that would be for me, Nikki, the absolute obvious. You know, I know, I mean, I imagine that a control room is like a air traffic control center. There must be thousands of lights. I've never been into one. In your opinion, are the controllers involved?
no,
Okay, that's very positive.
Yes, that's positive, but I do have my own insight on how they are involved. So in most cases, they're involved in a manner where a car is stolen already, and they just have to listen for the guys, whether the cops are coming or the recovery team is coming or not. Do you
But
understand?
are you saying they are doing it with bad intentions or with good intentions?
No, bad intentions. So
Right.
it's good and bad.
Yeah.
So you can get your car stolen maybe at Santon City. You call in. As
In a
soon as-
panic?
Yes. You call in. As soon as you call in, I answer the call.
As a controller.
Yes, as a controller. I answer the call. As soon as I answer the call, I'm helping you at that time, giving you updates. At the same time, I'm going to maybe get an SMS with the VIN number, only to find that it matches your vehicle. That's the one that has been stolen, and that's the one that you...
And that SMS is coming from where? From the underworld.
Yes. Do you
Okay.
understand? Yes. Get an SMS. As soon as you get that SMS, he'll be giving them an update also. So you getting an update as a client, and they also getting an update. Do you understand? So that's how they work. But in other cases, I don't necessarily blame the people in the
Control room.
Yes. So whoever who has a computer, who works for a tracking company, that person, they basically got power in their hands. Do you understand? Because I can't really say a person that has a computer. Also technicians, because there is technicians that I know of that can just call in for a certain vehicle, or criminals that can just call in for a certain vehicle, pretend as if they are the client and everything, just to get information on that specific vehicle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So something I'd like to share now. Have you ever bought a brand new flat screen TV?
Yes.
How many centimeters?
65.
65 centimeters. It's a big TV.
Yeah.
The box is what? 65 centimeters, 80 centimeters to accommodate it. When you finished unpacking that TV, did you store the box, did you cherish it, or did you chuck it away?
No, stored it.
Did you store it?
Yeah.
Okay, he's strange. So I've done the same, but I chuck the box away. Now, if I go put that box on my pavement in front of my home address, a big 80 centimeter box, what am I telling whoever walks past the house?
Have a new TV.
I didn't buy a pair of shoes in it and they didn't find space. So what do? You destroy it. Again, I always ask, where am I going with this? You're driving your vehicle on the road every single day. Your vehicle's got a legitimate number plate. My advice to you is if you stay at 23 First Avenue, wherever, do not under any circumstances register that vehicle at your home address or your work address. Use a different address where that vehicle isn't. Because what will happen, and I'm sure there's underhanded police officers and traffic officers who are also involved, they are told, be on the lookout for a nice black Toyota Hilux or a white Ford Ranger, and they happen to see one. They quickly get the printout, they know where it's registered, and voila, the next morning you got a surprise. In your opinion, Mr. X, is that happening?
Yes, it does happen, but then it happens in a different way now. So with technicians are now equipped in a way that they can track your vehicle using their company, whatever company that they're working for.
So independently now of the control center.
No. So what I mean is, as a technician, I'm fitting your vehicle.
Right.
Your vehicle is an order. As it has an order already, I can install my own tracking unit
To track the car.
to track the vehicle. And not using maybe my data or anything. I can just open a dummy account at whatever company and have that device. So, for example, I work for Company Z. That company, I can just go into the system, open a new account. After opening that new account, install that same tracking device in your car, I mean. But obviously the details with my name or whatever ghost details that I have. Do you understand? So wherever you move, I can just log in and just check wherever you're moving using whatever unit that I put in. But you still have the power to check your own car wherever it moves because of you have your own device that's registered under you. Do you understand? So it's not necessarily done in a way where you can just follow a person and maybe call other people to go and check on that address. It's just looking on my phone. Do you understand? So as technology progresses, even new styles, they just come up, yeah.
Looking to buy a new or used car? Visit changecars.co.za.
We've come to the end of the podcast. There's a couple of things that I would just like to take away from this. There's a lot of people that have got a lot of answering to do. The dealerships, we can't hold them accountable, but there's two entities that I do believe can be held accountable. Mr. X has said, lie detector tests, polygraphs, they say every 2 months. I believe it needs to be done every 2 weeks, and I'm dead serious about that. Every 14 days. If you're not a scallum today, I accept that, but the next 14 days is a long time. It's incumbent upon you, every single tracking company in South Africa, not calling out anybody by name because you don't deserve it. However, as an industry, you do deserve what I'm about to say. Make sure that the people you are there to protect are protected by doing what you need to do to protect them. Secondly, as a consumer, do not ever use your home or work address on any forms related to your car. Not the tracking company, not the registration at the licensing department, and always, thirdly, keep your smarts about you. If something feels wrong, don't go ahead with it. I can tell you now, insurance companies, you need to look into this. It's costing you money. You insuring cars. When they get stolen, you paying out on these cars. Maybe, possibly, it's time for a rethink and a reinvention of how tracking companies work in South Africa. So, yourself, Nikki, would you agree with what I've said?
Yeah, 100%. I think you raised some good points there, and I think it puts pressure on the companies as well to do better, because them doing better is not for the benefit, well, it is for the benefit of the public, but more benefit for them as a company. Like you mentioned, the insurance part of things. If they do something on their side, minimizes them paying out. But if they don't, they're going to keep paying out to the public.
I'm sure before this podcast, many of you had thought to yourselves, is it possible that there's inside information being shared? How do these vehicles get stolen in 45 seconds without anything being broken into? How does it happen? After watching this, I think you've seen this industry has got a challenge. We call upon the insurance companies, the motor dealers, the car manufacturers, and the tracking companies to do what they're empowered to do. Look after the public.
Looking at buying a brand new car? Visit changecars.co.za and click on the Beat My Quote tab, because we will beat your quote.